take 2 of this tutorial because the dang Scratch just crashed. Alright, so I'm making another tutorial here, and this one's going to be on how to do the SEQ bypass properly. Now, I have written a tutorial which is now out of date on Smashboards that I got linked to, or that a thread that I got links to actually. Recently, I have gotten a message on KCMM or Brawl Vault. For those of you who don't know which either of the two is, they're actually one and the same. That my SEQ bypass hack actually addresses a major problem in Brawl X, and they're saying it's not ideal, which unfortunately that's going to be the case probably forever because everyone is too busy with it, in my personal opinion. And that no, sound files are not going to work. If any of you are going to be out there saying, what if we can use sound files? Because the reason why sound files are not going to work is sound files only address a bank directly, along with the associated sounds that are in it, and possibly the volume parameters. But what we're going to be touching up on in this guide is not the banks, but something else that sits outside of them, but inside the BRCR. And it's because of this that sound files are not going to work. Now, this guide, if you follow along, you will not only be able to address the Brawl X Final Smash audio not playing issue, but you will also be able to play around with it and give other things, finally, their own customizability, which would be things like the Starman, the 1-Up Mushroom, whatever, or say like the Hammer, Golden Hammer. And it's not only that, you could also take some of the victory songs, that assuming that they can be called by the game, and that they don't share anyone given things. Like, for example, Wolf uses the F Fox victory slot, which would call whatever that thing is told to call. And same with the Pokemon trainer calling whatever Pikachu or Jigglypuff calls. Now, for those that have their own things, like the Mario, Luigi, Bowser, etc., you will be able to use this technique to use a BRCM slot that you don't use. For example, usually the Subspace Emissary songs, which are the Y series. And you can make use of those, or the 000 unused BRCM, or the X24 BRCM, to actually play any audio that you put in there, looped or not, over any of these SEQs that you can't hack, which will enable you to hack it, or take it into a victory and play a victory song over that, finally being able to use, say, things like ASL, which is alternate stage loader, and be able to give everyone their own custom victory theme without any problems. Now, the current problem that the community has with this is that you can't just type in a gecko code or the file in question that we're about to mod isn't supported by the file patch code, and thus it's not ideal, or they may not want to do it. But there is some workarounds, and if you really want to have the Final Smash songs play with Brawl X, you are going to have to use either Revolution or use USB Loader with the BRCR hard coded into the ISO to get that out of the way. If you don't want to do neither, you're going to have to either suck it up and do it, or you're going to have to suck it up and deal with not having the Final Smash songs work. At the time of recording this, we do not have any code that does any of the works that we're about to do in the form of memory patches or gecko codes. All of this that we're about to do is a file, and I find it much easier to deal with files than it is to just find codes and reverse engineer in memory. As with the files, we have tools to open them, and we can see what's in them, and we can also just edit them plain as day, as if we're just taking something in Notepad and changing text around. So, not so much to people who are new to modding, but those of you who are fairly familiar with Brawlbox and stuff, this is going to feel pretty much right at home while stepping into a new realm of territory. Now, first off, not any old Brawlbox will work. You need to have at least version 0.70 or newer, because any of the other ones prior to that either have bugs or don't support the BRCR at all. So you're going to have to upgrade if you don't have the latest version yet. Now, first off, if I can find my mouse arrow, we're going to open up our BRCR here, because that's one of the other files you're actually going to need before we go on and get this done with. Okay, now that we have this open, what you may notice is we have a bunch of stuff on the side here, and then stuff on the right side here. What sound files do, to clarify what they actually modify before anyone goes again, because I addressed this earlier in the video, goes again and asks in the comment section, can't we use a sound file or upgrade the sound files to go and address it? Well, no, because sound files are basically exported versions of these banks here. Let's go to random one. And basically, when you export a sound file or have a sound file, all it is whatever's in this box. And that's it. Along with whatever sound we may have. And that's not going to cut it, because we're not going to modify anything in here, because this is the data that we play. What we're going to be modifying is the data that we call. And there's a few steps to this. We have the entry that whatever coding is in the game addresses, and then the BRCR goes in and then looks for whatever it's supposed to play, and then it addresses that. To my knowledge, BrawlX is able to stably address any of these indexes, but the BRCR is unable to either locate or properly address and call out the sound that is in that index that it's supposed to play. So, going over this again, we can find the indexes in the table of contents in this BRCR, but the BRCR itself is unable to address or call out to the sound that it's actually supposed to play. Whether it be that the thing it's looking for, it cannot be found, or for whatever reason BrawlX's coding overwrites something of that and makes it unable to play, or corrupts a part of that, but not to the extent where it crashes the game. So we're just going to go ahead and fix that and reroute it so that it plays a BRCM which stably plays and is able to be found and called upon whenever these sounds are called upon or wanted. And BrawlX doesn't have an issue with that. So this is what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to close this out because I'm done demonstrating that. And we're going to be not paying attention to this crap here on the right, but it's going to be more of the crap here on the left, which is these folders, and maybe some of the data on the top right. So there's a lot of juice here. So we have a lot of stuff here. So we're actually going to go to this sound folder, go to VGM and SEQ. And here you can actually see 4 of the characters that have Final Smash music play when you execute their Final Smash. And on the right here, you're going to see that there is a group that they call upon. For whatever reason, these groups do not play. We're going to reroute these to play something that does work. And this is the workaround that addresses the major bug in BrawlX where your Final Smash songs do not play. Now this guide is by no means directed particularly at BrawlX. For those that want to use it for any other thing that may have a BRCR or outside of BrawlX, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be Brawl, as long as it has a BRCR that BrawlBox works with, you can use this guide and follow along to do an SEQ bypass. And more notably, in the Mario Kart community, this would finally allow you to change the lap 2 sound effect to something else, or to take the Wi-Fi music and either silence it or put it with your own song. Now, for those that are following this guide from Mario Kart Wii, do note that there's extra steps that you guys are going to have to take and to make this the game address it as an 8-channel BRCM, and you're going to have to also make an 8-channel BRCM with at least with sound on at least 2 of the 4 streams for it to work. Otherwise, you're going to run into that multi-channel effect that you can't get around, because there is no polygons to edit with collisions, because that's happening in the courses when you guys fix it that way. But here we have the streams being called in and out, or layered on top of each other in this case, by means of whatever menu is present or called or exited at that given time is what triggers it, not polygons that a cart runs into. So unfortunately for those of you that are following for the Mario Kart Wii side of things, you're not going to be able to get around with just fixing something or slapping a polygon, because those don't exist. Well, maybe the globe does, but that has nothing to do with the BRCM tracks that get called when we do this mod. You're just going to have to deal with doing a multi-channel. You won't be able to get away with slapping a regular or BRCM. Now, going back to the BrawlX one, because that's the main reason why I'm making this guide in the first place, we're going to go ahead and ignore this for now. We'll come back to it later, because we actually need another group to call upon. And if we go back up to the crap that we usually modify, you'll see that there's a bunch of external ones here. And these are the ones that we're going to call, and these are the ones that work. And when we call these, whatever BRCM we have over this, or with this name in the respective location on your SD card, it'll play the sound of whatever's in there. Now what we're basically going to do is make the Final Smashes play or call one of these, and then you will be able to modify the song that you play, or that gets played during a Final Smash, by means of whatever BRCM you throw at it. So we're not going to look here. We're actually going to go into let's see if we can navigate to X24, because that's one of the unused BRCMs, and that the audio for that was thrown into a THP, so that's why it was unused. And you'll see why it was thrown in a THP of how to play specifically pretty much soon. If we're gonna go to X24, you'll notice this thing says how to play. So there was gonna be a kind of like the Smash 64 style, where I'm guessing it was not pre-rendered, but it was done in real time by the game, and then the how to play X24 would play as the how to play song. But that later got scrapped, and they just crammed the whole thing into a pre-rendered video. And since it's unused, we're actually going to make use of it by copying this crap here in the sound file 668 strum/X24. I'm going to go back up to one of them, say for Luigi, and we're just going to select all and just sort of paste it there. And now it will call that. But now when we call it, it's going to be calling it as an SEQ, and we may run into a crash or it'd be silent. So we're going to have to go down here to sound type and change this drop down to our STRM. Now for the volume, it's up to you. Maximum is 255. This is, I believe, a 1 byte value between 0 and 255, or 0 and FF, of how loud the game is supposed to be blasting whatever sound that you throw at it, assuming that it's not overly quiet and then you just get practically silence. Which is why I like to blast BRCMs at max volume, because everything gets normalized in post-processing in the game, not in the files. And here's the definitive proof of that. Now we're going to have to go down and change a few things. Now in the old guide, I said that we had to zero this out in hex edit. We don't have to touch any of this, because unless it's an SEQ, this data will not be passed on to whatever we're calling. Instead, we're going to go into the STRM info. Start position, I'm assuming it's whatever sample you want it to play at, or start from. And I believe Mario Kart Wii does this, but it does it in a different way, so I wouldn't touch that for Mario Kart Wii or Brawl. Channel count is how many channels. Now in Brawl, we don't have any multi-channels. For Mario Kart Wii, for the Wi-Fi menu music, we will be putting 8. But for Brawl, we will be putting a 2. And the track flag for Mario Kart Wii, this would be whatever flag value that Koopa Cape slot has. You put it here as well. But for Brawl, we're just gonna put a 1. And after that, you're pretty much done. And you can go ahead and save, and then throw it into the game. And then when Luigi's Final Smash plays, whatever you have as x24.brcm in your sound folder or stream folder, wherever you have this, the BRCMs located on your SD card, whatever music is in there will play in place of Luigi's Final Smash when it goes off. Now you can do this for other things like the Golden Hammer, the regular hammer, or the Starman. You can do it for that too. Just locate them in the BRCR and do the same procedure where you take a BRCM that you don't care about or ever use, copy its data up here, and just paste it over the one in whatever thing you're going to plaster it over, and then change the thing to STRM, and then do the flag stuff at the bottom that I've showed earlier in the video. Now where the other juice is, I believe it's crap, it's not in here. I gotta close this out. It's not in that. It's not in that. It's in one of the SEs having to do with the items. Now if I can find it, because I have not done this in quite a long time. There it is. Sound, SEQ, item, and we have a lot of juicy stuff here, and we can also replace it there, and then make those said respective items play. Now if you guys want to do the victory isolation, then we'd be going to BGM and going into the victory slots. And we'd notice there's a lot of neat things here, so including Mewtwo. So if you guys find a way to call this slot, we can theoretically add a victory slot and make it play that, using this method, of course. Now, if we'll notice, we have F Falco, and then we have F Fox sitting around somewhere, wherever it was. But if I can open up with these, we have F Toon Link. We even have F Roy, so we could theoretically add 2 of them. But we have 2 Zelda characters that we saw, and they all point to the same thing. Now, if you to make one, leave one alone, and change the other one to another BRCM, in practice, you would be able to give both of them their own independent victory themes. So, that pretty much sums up and concludes how to do the SEQ bypass. Now, in the past, I did not want to release anything like this publicly, because I'll be brutally honest here, I was salty about how the Mario Kart Wii modding community did their thing, and personally, it felt pretty closed off. So I didn't really want to share any of my breakthroughs and have them take advantage of it, and then maybe claim it as their own because I'm kind of paranoid, or maybe give credit. But all that is past, and I finally want to get all of this stuff out, because holding back a mod stifles the advancement of whatever people could do in the modding community, and I don't want to stifle it. So, any of you guys in the Brawl modding community, share this out. At least, if you guys share this out or make a guide that incorporates this, or any steps of it, at least please give me credit that I was the one that did this and discovered this, because I wouldn't want to see someone make a guide, go through this, miss a step, get asked a question, and have no idea what the answer should be. So, when in doubt, just link people to this guide, and then this will be able to explain it all. For those of you on the Mario Kart Wii side of things, I hope that this guide will actually further help you guys further your modding stuff and whatnot, and finally be able to do the SEQ bypass for the lap 2 jingle, and maybe race clear. Maybe we want to change that. You can change it finally, and then also the voting screen slash music that plays on the menus when you're trying to get online. You'll be able to modify those as well. I think I have a guide floating around somewhere. But that concludes this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If this guide helped you, please give it a thumbs up and help it a bit. And then, if you guys are interested, check out my channel and then see the other crap in the modding realm that I've probably done. The most recent one I've done was a texture mod, but I don't really find that interesting. It's more in the music stuff where I completely destroy the game with it. That's all for this. Thanks guys for watching. Bye.